Arkansas. That flood watch goes all the way through a majority of Oklahoma City, areas to the south, across the Red River Valley into Wichita Falls, but also Wichita, Kansas, and then parts of the Flint Hills as you look over into southeastern and eastern parts of Kansas. A big area of real estate, but where most of the rain has fallen so far has been this area from Oklahoma City to Tulsa and points to the south, where what you see in red is upwards of 8 inches of rain. Think about how dry we've been in Oklahoma. We needed this rain. We just didn't need it all at once. And there's also this zone right here that I'm pretty concerned about, because when you get into northern Arkansas, now you're bringing elevation into play, and you bring the rain up and over the elevation. It squeezes out extra moisture. But where does that rain go? It tries to find the lowest point. And when you have elevation, you're talking valleys where you have maybe some streams, some rivers, some creek beds that will fill up very quickly and can cause some problems very quickly. We also have flash flood warnings already in that very same zone I was talking about, but we're going to be watching Oklahoma, majority of Oklahoma again, because with heavy rain moving through that we've already seen in Oklahoma City this morning, that's moving to the east with another round right behind it. For the better part of the first half of the day, we're going to be seeing more rain in Oklahoma City. We get to this afternoon, we still have rain in eastern Oklahoma, now down through Dallas. And once again, those areas that we talked about, high concern with elevation, flash flooding potential, where we're putting rain on top of already saturated ground. And then Tuesday, we're going to be watching this entire front move to the east as we go throughout the day. Thankfully, the severe weather threat isn't quite as high, but the flash flooding concern is still there. But Steph, once we get through this severe weather, then we have to turn our attention to what is happening in the tropics.
It's like, enough.
I know.
Enough.
In the same area.
Pick up the story.
Essentially, Steph, it is a big question mark right now because there's so many different things that can impact exactly where this ends up. In the short term, there's a lot of agreements to, fighting wildfires. Temperatures in the upper 80s, extremely uncomfortable, and in many places just dangerous. But it's also just uncomfortable because now we're so late into fall and we're still feeling more summer-like temperatures for so many of us. It's the pattern that we've been in. We've seen a few cold fronts to come through. They briefly knock back our temperatures, but then they go right back into this range. We're talking about record highs. And this is through Wednesday. So now through Wednesday, every single one of these red dots is where a record high could be broken. And that's just insane when you look at just not only the areas that we're talking about, but how many people we're talking about. Most of these records today from Mississippi, Louisiana, Kentucky, they're very recent. So we're talking the last 10 years, Galveston being the exception, but these numbers just so uncomfortable for this time of year. When you want to get into your fall wardrobe, you want to get the coats out. Maybe you already did for that brief cold snap that we did, and then it's right back into the shorts and the flip-flops because it's just so warm outside. Anywhere from 15 to 20 degrees above average today for the Ohio Valley. If you think that's impressive, look at what tomorrow is going to bring us, 15 to 30 degrees above average. Now, we still have some chilly mornings, but then it warms up so significantly in the afternoon. So we're talking 30s to start off the morning in Binghamton, but by this afternoon and by tomorrow afternoon, we're going to be well into the 70s. Steph, I've kind of been staging my own protest. I'm still dressing like fall.
You're dressing like it's fine.
I'm still drinking my hot coffee. I'm sweating, but it's it's November. I want to wear
walked
boots.
in, I'm like, I have on this bright, peachy orange, and I'm like.
Welcome back into America's Morning Headquarters. I'm meteorologist Molly McCollum alongside meteorologists Stephanie Abrams and Lynette Charles. This is what happened over the weekend. We had pure destruction in parts of the southern plains around the Oklahoma City area. This is an aerial view of the damage this is from Storm Tracker Charles Peak, and some of the preliminary damage reports revealing EF3 damage in Hera as well as Valley Brook, prompting Governor Kevin Stitt to declare a state of emergency for 6 counties in Oklahoma. Here's the problem, Lynette. This is what we saw over the weekend, but we're not done yet.
Not even close. We've already seen tornado warnings this morning.
And it's falling on dry soil. It's not doing us as many favors if it fell, slowly over time, over the matter of a week or two. That would do us more favors when it comes to the drought. Instead, we're dealing with too much at once. That's why there's a flood watch. Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, even into Texas across the Red River Valley. This is what's happened over the last 48 hours. And look at this big swath of heavy rain. We're talking close to 8 inches of rain in some spots. Oklahoma City areas to the south over to just south of Tulsa. And then a lot of flooding reports when you get into south central Missouri and then into the higher elevations, the Ozarks in Arkansas. I'm a little bit concerned about that area. Anytime you bring elevation into play, you have to talk about the increased risk for flash flooding. We've got a lot of flash flood warnings in that very same area this morning. We could see an additional 3 to 5 inches of rain. We've also been watching Oklahoma very carefully. We've had a number of severe warnings, including tornado warnings already. And now we're bringing in more rain. The ground is super saturated at this point because we saw rain Sunday, we saw rain Saturday, we saw rain Friday. And by the time we get to midday today, things start to improve in Oklahoma City. We're still seeing rain, eastern Oklahoma over into Texas, back into these very same areas, Arkansas into Missouri that we're watching so carefully this morning. But let's turn the calendar page to Tuesday now, Election Day. This very same system not bringing as much severe weather, but still bringing a lot of rain. Texas clear up into areas like the Great Lakes and even over into the Twin Cities, the upper Midwest. That line is going to make some slow progress to the east throughout the day on Tuesday, bringing us rain pretty consistently. And here's what we could be seeing. 3 to 5 inches of rain in these isolated areas, but as a whole, most of us in that range of 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 inches of rain, which we can handle as long as it's not falling on saturated soil. But to see severe weather and rain this time of year is not too uncommon. Something else that's not too uncommon is that the tropics, Steph, are still in play. Yes, we don't see it too often in November, but we've seen it before.
Oh, yes. I mean, hurricane season officially runs.
Welcome back into America's Morning Headquarters. I'm meteorologist Molly McCollum alongside meteorologists Stephanie Abrams and Lynette Charles. This is what we saw over the weekend. Pure destruction in parts of the southern plains around the Oklahoma City metro area. This is an aerial view from storm tracker Charles Peak. Preliminary reports revealing EF3 damage in Hera, as well as Valley Brook, prompting Governor Kevin Stitt to declare a state of emergency for 6 counties in Oklahoma. This is what happened over the weekend, but unfortunately, Lynette, we are still dealing with severe weather today, but there is some good news in that we can finally see the end of this later today.
Yeah, that is some good news. But before we get there,
as we go into the evening hours.
And that has been the name of the game for the past couple of days. Thank you, Steph. Well, next on this Monday edition of America's Morning Headquarters, the 2024 hurricane season is far from over.